This Srila Prabhupada speaks about the preaching. What does the Gaudiya Math teach? The message of Gaudiya Math is, let's go back home, back to Godhead. The Gaudiya Math was inaugurated in order to preach about pure devotional service and to present Mahaprabhu's teachings to the world. Mahaprabhu's invaluable instructions and teachings are the object of the Gaudiya Math preaching. And the devotees at the Gaudiya Math preach Srimad Bhagavatam by personally following its teachings. They are preachers who practice what they preach. This is very important. If you are not practice, then you are not able to preach. I think this is the reason. Maybe this is something not. Something. What is the devotee's opinion? Is the question. Srila Prabhupada says, Hari's devotees say, all living entity, you are a servant of the Supreme Lord and have no relationship with the material world. Somebody is playing with these things. We have no relationship with the material world. Since you are Hari's servant, your only business is to serve Him. As soon as you give up Hari's service and engage in some other activities, you will lose your peace of mind. A living entity, do not gratify your senses in the name of serving Hari. Remember, service means to gratify Krishna's senses. To act in a way that pleases your own senses and the senses of your relatives is not service. If you think it's service, you will be cheated. Do not wrongly identify service to family with service to the Lord. Do not waste time serving Maya after taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. If you do, how will you gain? You will simply become more attached to family life and ultimately fail to attain the Supreme. So be eager to serve the Lord if you wish to attain Him. Be intelligent and serve Krishna at any cost. Then the Spirit Master and Gauranga will certainly be pleased with you. This is hard words that can only be spoken by Prabhupada. From materialist it is very, on the border, I can not accept this. And there's another question, why do surrender devotees beg alms? Surrender devotees do whatever their Lord dictates by Sri Gaurasundar's order and do benefit others. The devotees go door to door and beg alms to engage others in devotional service. In order to distribute the contents of their topmost treasury and to invite people to participate in the festival of Krishna's service. They go door to door to beg. They do not go anywhere influenced of an enjoying spirit. The devotee's compassion is incomparable. They want only to induce everyone to become Krishna conscious. Then the question is asked, can one do more for people by giving them personal instructions? One who gives personal instruction to each and everyone does more for others than the platform speakers do. Generally, whatever platform speakers say cannot solve the problem of everyone in the audience. Nor can it always benefit every individual. A person's defects are better rectified in a private tutorial class or private coaching than in hearing lectures in a school or a college. Therefore, those who instruct particular persons separately can award them something more permanent. So what is actually welfare? Being averse to Lord Vishnu, innumerable living entities have come to Mahamaya's prison house. So these people they can envy Lord Vishnu unlimitedly. So prison house means this material world. Unlimited jivas came here. So they can envy Lord Vishnu unlimitedly. If you can believe even one of these people and make him or her a devotee of Krishna, then this is a much more important form of welfare than building hospitals or schools. We hear, I am a resident of India. Therefore, it is my duty to see to India's interest according to their temporary situation. If I were born in a foreign country and was living in India, then even though it would be against India, I would be concerned about that foreign interest. Sri Chaitanya Dev and his devotees are not so involved in insignificant sectarianism, born of matter and based on time, place and person. The welfare activities they perform and the example of patriotism they set do not temporarily benefit one group while harming another. The fruit of their welfare activities and patriotism can be had by all people at all time. all over the world. This is not my imagination, it is fact. Hare Krishna.
It's all right. Thank you.
Yes. So don't flatter when you preach. Those who flatter are not teachers or spiritual masters. They are certainly not real preachers. In order to be popular or to accomplish their ends, those who wonder about flattering people and thus supplying them with fuel to increase their sense qualification, do not actually wish the people well. One need not hear from them, and if one does, it will cause ruination. Is there any question or anything? Anything clear? Anything not clear? The next question is just describes our situation. Why do so few people like to hear the truth? Why only a few people like to hear the truth? Why? Srila Prabhupada says it is a fact that many people are not interested in the absolute truth, or even the spiritual path. This is because the Supreme Truth is not a path of sense gratification, but of renunciation. Some people have spoiled the brains by the young Bengalis by encouraging them to become great religionists and fruitive workers. That is why we have to spend hundreds of gallons of blood to preach. Even so few people are able to understand the actual truth. So unless one is fortunate and pious, one does not develop the desire to hear genuine truth or Krishna Katha. Human beings are entangled in either material enjoyment or renunciation. But intelligent and fortunate scrutinize the paths of prayers and shreyas and conclude that the former is a part of bondage and the later a part of liberation. Only sober persons give up prayers for shreyas. The less intelligent, who do not know how to discriminate, pray for prayers, hoping always to gain what they lack and preserve what they have. The Shastras assure us that it will be difficult to find people interested in spiritual advancement. And even if we find such people, we can expect them to be unable to understand its importance. An expert speaker who knows the science of shreyas is extremely rare. More, even if such a rare speaker is found, it is difficult to find a receptive and submissive audience to hear him. Millions of flattering speakers will go to hell, but someday someone will realize the confidential truth spoken boldly and be saved. It may take hundreds of lifetimes or hundreds of yugas before someone can hear properly. But it is not possible to make a person understand the truth unless one is prepared to spend hundreds of gallons of withheld blood. So difficult it may be to understand real spiritual life. Hare Krishna. So it is very rare. Hundreds of yugas, Prabhupada said, we have to come to this world so that we can we get interest to even hear the truth, become inquisitive. So is it our business to build a mat and live there? It is more intelligent to create a living mat rather than to build a mat for comfortable living. Creating a living mat means to attract faithful persons to surrender at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. The highest welfare activity is to attract living entities to serve the spiritual master's lotus feet by describing to them the spiritual master's glories and service. For this we spend gallons of blood. Such preaching will please both Guru and Krishna. Therefore, to dedicate body, mind and speech to such philanthropic activity is the perfection of life. A mat surcharged with talk of Krishna's glories and service is non-different from Vaikuntha. Thus living in a mat is just like living in a dham. Harikatha must be prominent in the mat. There is no use in building a mat simply to facilitate eating and sleeping. Mats should be built only to spread Harikatha. This will benefit ourselves and others. So devotees who are fully dedicated to their spiritual master are the living source, and we are to hear from such living sources, so that we too can become dedicated devotees. People devoid and bereft of service to spiritual master are dead, even as they prayed. Do not associate with such non-devotees if you do not want to harm your spiritual progress. So what is the highest blessing one can give to others? The most auspicious blessing one can shower on the people: may you all be Krishna conscious. To divert the jiva's attention towards Krishna is the best thing you can do for them. It is an act of highest altruism to award Krishna's devotional service to others. In their hearts, devotees are always eager to perform such an act of welfare. The supreme knowledge is to know the Supreme Lord. Shastra declares Vidya Bhagavata Bhakti. The limit of knowledge is to understand Krishna. In Chaitanya Charitamrita is stated, Prabhu kahe, Kanvitya vidya madhyasana Raya kahe Krishna bhakti vina vidya nayar. On one occasion, the Lord inquired of all types of education, which is the most important. Ramananda Roy replied, no education is important other than the transcendental devotional service of Krishna. So the godless education currently being propagated has not and will not benefit humankind, but will further degrade it. The highest gift the devotees can give to the entire human race is the Sri Chaitanya Dev's mercy. So who is qualified to preach? The self-realized souls who see the Supreme Lord face to face are qualified to preach the Lord's glories. They are the principal preachers. Innumerable other preachers can preach under their guidance. After seeing the Supreme Lord face to face, Sri Vyasadeva preached Srimad Bhagavatam with a peaceful mind. The self-sufficient Shukadev and great personalities such as the Navayogendra preached about the soul's eternal duty while wandering as mendicants. Only the liberated souls wander and preach about Hari. Srimad Mahaprabhu and his associates preached everywhere. Thousands of questions arise, but proper answers to all these questions can be found when one hears Harikatha properly. Do not be impatient. So who is an acharya? A devotee who practices what he preaches is an acharya. An acharya is impartial and liberated and can induce others to give up bad association by boldly and impartially instructing them about the imminent danger of such association, while personally setting an ideal example of complete renunciation of bad association and constant cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Unless one dedicates one's life completely, one cannot preach. So an acharya is a preacher. Is there any question, anything to comment on? Is everything late today? We'll read one few lines more. Isn't giving people food and clothing compassionate? If some persons believe in God or worship Hari, we will certainly help them with food and clothing. We have to feed the poor to make them worship Hari. We have to give them some tangible help. But to maintain a poisonous snake by feeding it milk and bananas is not compassionate. Mundane welfare work is like that. It leads people to godlessness by tempting them with sense objects. So real compassion is to make the living entities who are averse to Krishna incline towards his service. The living entities are suffering in this world in so many ways because they have forgotten their service to Krishna. By awakening their Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees, they can become free of their suffering, become happy. Sri Chaitanya Dev displayed this kind of compassion. If we make a comparative study between Lord Chaitanya's compassion and the so-called insignificant, incomplete compassion of mundane philanthropists, we will see that the compassion displayed by Mahaprabhu is complete and eternal, whereas the compassion displayed by others is limited and artificial. As our Guru's servant, we speak only what we have been taught. Do not put forward new proposals. At the same time, we do not miss any opportunity to speak the truth for the people's benefit. So far, whatever I have explained to you does not go to my credit. I have no personal qualification as a disciple. I simply repeat my spiritual master's words. I preach about the absolute truth as the information has come down to me from my spiritual master in disciplic succession. I speak only what he has mercifully revealed to me or inspired me to speak. Apart from this, I have no qualification. So the Lord's devotees come to this world in order to favor the living entities. They are not duty-bound to come here, and certainly they have no personal need, but to change the living entities' adverse taste for devotion to something favorable in their only compassionate duty. They want to speak, they want to spark interest in the people in this world in engaging in bhakti. If we miss their trust and remain averse to the Supreme Lord and indifferent to Sankirtan, the Yuga Dharma of the age, then whatever other welfare activities we do, such as feeding the poor or educating the foolish, is a complete waste of time and energy. Just as an arrow's power is calculated by the prowess of an archer, similarly, the power and effect of one's preaching depends on how much devotional strength one possesses. Therefore, there is a gulf of difference between the preaching of ordinary devotees and the preaching of a powerful devotee. Such powerful devotees are referred to as the living sowers. Those who experience such persons in their own lives are certainly fortunate. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, jai Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Manchakalpatarubhyascha, prasindrubhya evacha. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.